Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers podcast. Dave, we are on episode 89 already. Thanksgiving is in the rearview mirror. Christmas is full steam ahead. Before we start the show, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you get involved in any of this Black Friday sale drama, or are you not a Black Friday shopper?
Dude, I'm a huge fan of Black Friday, the old Black Friday, when you would actually have to go to the stores in the morning on Friday at 4 a.m., get in line and get after it. That's what I was a fan of. Now Black Friday is a month and a half long. It starts either in October or right at the beginning of November. So no, I'm not really a fan anymore. I like the idea of buying stuff for cheap. Who doesn't? That part's great. But they've wrecked, just like most of the other great things in this country, they've wrecked Black Friday, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe how much they've ruined it. This year, more than other years, it was Halloween, and then the next day was Black Friday. Everybody's ad was right after Halloween, Black Friday sales began until they run. And dude, I was looking at the Home Depot ad last night, right? And it said Black Friday sales. It's still the same ad from October, and it says, and right underneath where it says Black Friday, it doesn't say November, whatever the hell the day was, November 22nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or whatever it was. It literally just said Black Friday sales now until they run out. And it's that ad came out on fucking Halloween.
Back in the day, we used to get all the flyers when you'd actually get flyers in the mail. And then we'd look to see what the best thing was going. And we used to go just to watch the people. My dad, my uncle, my cousin, Casey, we would all just go and watch all the action at the stores. And we'd be all right, Walmart opens at 5, we're going to go here. Then Home Depot opens at 6, we're going to go here. Kohl's, and we'd have all the stops and just go watch all the action. And every once in a while, you pick up a good deal at Home Depot or something. But for the most part, it was just entertainment, pure entertainment gold.
Dude, I've never seen. So you used to do the Black Friday thing. I never in my life have done Black Friday shopping. Actually, the only thing I ever truly remember buying on Black Friday was a TV a few years back because they had a 58-inch or whatever the fuck it was at Walmart on sale on Black Friday. And I was just so happened to be walking through the store and it was Black Friday. And it was this TV, and I think I called you. I'm is this a good deal on this TV? It was a 60-inch for $300. And you're yeah, it's a good deal. I'm okay, I guess I'm just gonna buy myself a TV on Black Friday because the other one was going bad. You know what I mean? And that poor television we don't even use it anymore because we don't have cable or anything. So we have this beautiful television that's obviously antiquated now. It's a dinosaur in the technology world that we barely even use it.
Yeah, that's the thing that ends up happening. People spend all this money on cool, fun tech things, and they're obsolete within a year or 2 years. Even the TVs now.
The first TV I ever bought, TV that I remember buying, and Dean and I weren't even married yet. We were dating. And we bought it from Circuit City in Torrington. Remember when Circuit City went in next to Price Chopper?
Yes.
We bought it from Circuit City. Dude, it was what comes after 48? 50? I don't even know. What is it, 60?
50. Well, the next big one's 60, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a 48-inch Samsung. And I remember Andy and I went in there and we thought we were so cool. We spent $1,000 on a television. Can you believe that? That may be the dumbest $1,000 I've ever spent in my entire life.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Because now you can buy a 48-inch TV for $150.
There's one thing inflation didn't hit, that's for sure.
Yeah, kind of amazing if you think about it. Well, that's what ultimately that's what the tech people want you to do. They want you to sit in front of your couch, become lazy piece of shit, and watch TV. So it makes sense that would be cheaper.
Yeah. And
more
one other thing now
we're on the show.
Yeah, well, now while we're on topic of it already being post Thanksgiving and almost Christmas, can we just stop for a second and just realize where the hell has this year gone? We are literally less than a month from Christmas now.
Yeah, and I am 10 days away from being here in Nashville for a year, which seems impossible to me. So, yeah, this year has flown by. You nailed it on the head there. Christmas is bearing down on us. It's going to be here in no time, and we'll be talking goals pretty soon in 2024 and hoping the world doesn't end.
Yeah, the goal number one, survive 2024 without dying. That's always the goal. But no, It's just, I can't even, dude, you're going on a year. And then last week, that Thanksgiving week, would have been our 2 years in Virginia if we survived that long. Hindsight's 2020. Maybe we should have stayed on the farm away from people.
Maybe.
But anyways, so let's just jump right into episode 89, Dave. I'm gonna let you jump in with numbers. You put the numbers in this week, so go ahead and kickstart us off with some number 89s.
Yeah, it's just a week. It's a weak number. Certainly wouldn't have made our March Madness tournament that we did earlier in the year. But probably the best all time at the 89, Mike Ditka. He was the Bears' number one pick in the 1961 draft. Coach, 56 catches for 1,076 yards, 12 touchdowns in his rookie season. Pretty good. He made all NFL 4 years in a row. He also won a Super Bowl as a member of not the Chicago Bears, not the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Dallas Cowboys, which is great. He was also a coach, 219 wins, 131 losses as a coach. Most notably with the Bears, won the 85 championship with the Bears. Also went on to coach the New Orleans Saints for a bit of time. Wasn't very good there. But Mike Ditka, probably the most notable name on the list. Any thoughts on Coach?
The Bears. Yeah, Ditka. The big glasses, the mustache, the sweater vest. Hell of a football player. Great coach. I think, obviously, the 85 Bears, people argue, the greatest defense to ever step on a field. Most notably on that team is the Refrigerator Perry hawked Walter Payton's touchdown in the Super Bowl. And I think the funniest moment of Mr. Mike Ditka's Hall of Fame career is when they got Ricky Williams in New Orleans, and he was the coach of the Saints, and he came out with the dreadlock wig on at the press conference.
That's great.
But that's it, really. I mean, and then obviously
Ditka was
ESPN guy
was a classic. Oh yeah, for sure. He was great, man. He came in, was part of the countdown crew. He was doing his thing at ESPN for a while. Everybody loved Coach. I always enjoyed working with him there. I didn't get to know him very well, but I got to work with him quite a bit. I was always a nice guy. So Mike Ditka, first one on the list today. Another one, older generation player. Not a lot of stats around this guy. I mean, he had a lot, he's a Hall of Fame player. He was a defensive end with the Baltimore Colts. Gino Marchetti. Again, couldn't find a lot of hard statistics on him, but he was all pro at his position 9 times. So that's a pretty good career in my book. All pro 9 times. Gino Marchetti, defensive end with the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, the Colts. That's how long ago it was. They were the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, quite a while. Quite a while. We got a couple notables on here. You want to go through the notable mentions that aren't in the Hall of Fame yet, but maybe one day will be?
Well, guaranteed Hall of Famer Steve Smith, number one. The great Carolina Panthers wide receiver, also played with the Ravens towards the end of his career. Over 1,000 catches, over 14,000 receiving yards, actually closer to 15,000 receiving yards than 14,000 receiving yards, and 81 touchdowns. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Also, just a tough, gritty, he was just one of those wide receivers, undersized, not the skill, the natural talent of the Calvin Johnsons and the T.O.s and the big name Devontae Adams of the world, the big name wide receivers, but just a smaller receiver, gritty, Super Bowl, played in the Super Bowl. I'll never forget what a receiving core in that Super Bowl then when they lost to the Patriots. You had Steve Smith, Mushin Muhammad, and Ricky Prohl on the same team with Stephen Davis, and that was Jake Delhomme as the quarterback. And another Super Bowl that the Patriots, for all that they are the great Patriots in the Tom Brady years, everyone forgets they never really blew anybody out in the Super Bowl. The Falcons game, down 28-3, came back. Eagles, game-winning field goal. Panthers, game-winning field goal. The first Super Bowl against the Rams, game-winning field goal. So there's 4 of Brady's rings with the Patriots that were not blowouts. You know what I'm saying? And for Vinatieri, thank God for Vinatieri in a lot of those games. But this is not about them. But Steve Smith, great receiver. He will be in the Hall of Fame. And the other notable mention that you did put on here is most famous for your Nashville, Tennessee Titans with the old Music City Miracle, Frank Wycheck, if anybody remembers that game. We were young then, but it's just one of those memorable moments of the lateral at the end of the game. And they Wycheck, and they go across the field, they score the touchdown, they win the game in a playoff game. And it was wild to see because it's just one of those once in a lifetime things, kind of like the Immaculate Reception, all these crazy one time things that happen in the history of football. And this one sits right up there. But his numbers not gaudy, 500 catches, 5,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. But he's literally most notably known for the Music City Miracle in Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty great. I love those things in sports. So, you never know when you turn into a sporting event what you're going to see. It might be a one-time thing like that where you're just like, wow, never again will I see it. Going down the list, NBA, none. Major League Baseball, none. NHL, no Hall of Famers. NASCAR, there's one. We did him a couple weeks ago. The great Buck Baker is back on the list. He made the list again. I wanted to put him in. He's got 2 wins with the 89 car. Buck Baker, he's the last of our list here at number 89.
Yeah, once again, weaker list. A couple big names, obviously, with Ditka being the leader. Steve Smith might actually be statistically the best 89, but Ditka did win the coach, even though you don't wear an 89 jersey when you coach. Mm-hmm. Ditka did win the Super Bowl, where Steve Smith didn't get that Super Bowl ring. But yeah, Buck Baker, the old ghost of Buck Baker comes back to haunt us again with NASCAR. The fact that he's on the list twice is amazing. That right there in itself, kudos to him for being on the list twice. And he got 2 wins in the 89 car.
I mean, not bad. He had some top 5, top 10s. Like he's legit. He was legit across apparently a couple cars. So, Buck Baker, thank you for making the list the second time.
I wonder if he's in the Race Car Hall of Fame. I'd have to look that up. That'd be interesting to find out if he's.
I would imagine he probably is.
Yeah, I mean, anyone he's like. Listen, he's like Mike Trout. He's like a 5-tool player. He just drives different numbers and wins at different numbers. You know what I mean? He's just a utility.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's he's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He made it in the class of 2013.
2013. Okay, good to know. But so this is completely off topic. But now that we're ranting about NASCAR, now as we all know, that NASCAR nowadays is a very big business. When we were kids, 30 years ago, and 30 years prior to that, when our dads were kids, our dads weren't kids 30 years ago. They were kids 56 years ago. NASCAR was like a gritty, beer drinking, fist fighting, hillbilly redneck thing. Now it's like a money-making machine. But I wonder, and I have no answer to this question. I don't know if you have an answer to the question. It's kind of an open-ended question, and I'm not looking for an answer. But I wonder if racing back then, like Richard Petty, like these Buck Bakers and all these things, were they like big time, like, right now you have Richard Childress Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, DEI, right? Earnhardt Incorporated. These are major, major mega corporations that run these teams that these guys drive on. I wonder how the hell did it ever evolve from rednecks and hillbillies drinking beer on the weekends to where it is now? Because more people attend races, especially NASCAR races, than attend any other, you name it, football game, basketball game. Dude, they put 250,000 people in at these racetracks, and they film them.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you start thinking about the sponsorships. I mean, you slap a sponsor on a car, and what must have happened was somebody must have done it first. They must have stuck a logo, and then all of a sudden they saw their sales shot up, right?
Yeah.
People that were falling around the NASCAR circuit started buying whatever that product was. So that's probably, how it started. And you always, hear, I was driving the 89 car, the 89 Ford, Home Depot, John Deere, Sunoco, 89 car, and they just list them all off. But yeah, man, it's a spectacle. I've been to a NASCAR race before. It's a lot of fun. People will go there. They'll camp for the entire week leading up to the race. It's just like one giant tailgate party for the entire week leading up to it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I could see why people like to do it. You go and you just watch those cars and the rumble, like how loud and how fast they are. It's incredible to see it. So it definitely has the popularity, especially across the South, as a big thing.
It's a Southern thing, and I can't say that I've ever been to a NASCAR race. Now, my grandfather a long time ago, my uncles, they all sponsored race cars, but now I'm talking hillbilly New York, dirt car races. Like, but people, even the dirt car races, people get so
Yeah.
obsessed with, like, it's an obsession. Like, people love that shit. And the NASCAR side of it,
Oh
I've never
yeah.
been to a NASCAR race, but I have stayed in Talladega before. I've stayed at the racetrack, at the campground
Yep.
in Talladega. There's a campground, literally.
Nice.
Talladega, Alabama has nothing. There's nothing there. It is literally, the entire town is all about that racetrack, and it's 2 race weekends a year. And when you get off the freeway in Alabama and you go into Talladega, we were like, we were searching for a spot for one night. It was a one night spot. We're like, oh, where the hell are we going to go? And we're driving through Alabama. And we're like, oh, this sounds cool. It's a raceway, campground, RV park. Dude, we show up there. It was November. Dude, not a soul in sight. Not in the whole fucking town. The racetrack is there. They had this, the cop that sits in front of the racetrack entry, because that's obviously what they have to do, because that's the main attraction. You don't want anyone going and breaking in on the racetrack, even though there's not a race weekend there. And we stayed right there, dude. The whole road, just think of like you and I grew up. Just think of like not I-10 because it's not a freeway, but think of like Oracle Road here, or the main drag that goes through your town.
Mm-hmm.
Think about no businesses anywhere for miles, and all it is just open fields, and they literally are for campers only. That's how much of a spectacle it is. It is hundreds of acres that are just empty grass fields. Like when you go
2
to,
times a year.
yeah, like when you go to the Goshen Fair and you park in the field, that's what it is. But it's full of campers. And like I talked to the guy who owns the campground. He lives on the campground year round. And he goes, we have people that book these sites 2 years in advance, and they booked them for the entire week. Like that is their vacation, is Talladega weekend. Like when you live in Alabama, you're going to Talladega to watch. Eric Church has that great song, fucking Talladega. It's amazing. It's a spectacle. But dude, that track is so big, it's unbelievable.
It's so fun when you pull up on a super speedway and actually just see it from the distance and like how massive it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you actually get inside and you see, like when you go to Daytona and you see the bank, how steep the bank is in the turns, like it's, dude, NASCAR tracks, racing tracks in general, cool. I've been to the Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've seen the Daytona, Bristol Motor Speedway. We did a football game at Bristol Motor Speedway. That was cool. And New Hampshire, Loudon, been there, and then also Dover. So like I've seen a lot of tracks. I haven't been to races at all of them, but seen a lot of tracks, and it's cool, man. It's totally different. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I can see why people love it.
It just makes me think of Ricky Bobby every single time. It's like he's not, he's just a big hairy American wind machine. But the other thing, you were just really quick before we move on, the sponsor thing you were talking about. Dude, do they make these guys pre-record or practice what they're going to say? Because like Jeff Gordon, right? We'll use Jeff Gordon. Well, Jeff Gordon, I just want to thank all my sponsors. In the DuPont Chevrolet, the number 24 car just ran great today. I want to thank so-and-so Shocks, or like Ricky Bobby. If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you. And he's or the Jack Hawk 9000. He pulls out the machete. Like it's like these guys must absolutely just they must practice what they're gonna say on camera, dude. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's great. They got it scripted pretty good, man. But they got a ton of. You look at their car, you can't see paint. It's just all stickers.
Yeah, you got to know your main sponsor. You got to know the number, and you got to know the brand of the car, and you got to know your owner. So like, Jeff Gordon, I just want to thank the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet and Richard Childress Racing. Like it's like they have to have it perfectly to a T. It's like they say it in the mirror before they go to the race because it's got to be down to a T. It's nuts. Oh man, but listen, enough NASCAR talk. Let's move on. We got to just say, it's an open forum show today. We got a lot of little things to talk about, but let's get into our Bible verse. And it comes from Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And it says, and whatever you do, I probably should have used this last week, by the way, for Thanksgiving episode, but I didn't. And it says Colossians 3:17, and whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So verse is just like, the way I look at this verse is like, it's just a testament to the way that we live our lives, the way we should live our lives, right? We should be driven, motivated, whatever the word you want to use, by honoring him, right? Honoring our Lord in all that we do. We represent God in everything we do, the way we talk to people, the way we work, how we treat others, the way we act, all that stuff. Whether we're playing pickup football last week on Thanksgiving Day, or what you're talking to your coworkers, or how you treat people, we should represent him well at all times. And it should always just be a little piece in the back of your mind thinking like, hey, am I representing my faith well when you freaking snap at your kids, or you lose your shit on a coworker, or you get pissed off playing pickup basketball,
Mm-hmm.
like, and you start cursing and all the other stuff. And I'm guilty of it because I curse a lot, way too much, you know? And like the second part is like, we should always, and this is where it ties more into Thanksgiving last week, like we should always be giving thanks, right? Be grateful all the time and always give thanks to him for life, for everything, for our families. We should always be giving thanks. Like I said, last week might have been a little more fitting because it is about thanks, and last week being Thanksgiving. But like, just whatever we do it in his name and make him proud.
Yeah, I actually like that it's this week. It's not the week of Thanksgiving. It's a gimme. It's an easy one, the week of Thanksgiving. But doing those things in His name every day, whether you're supposed to, because it's a holiday and you're thinking about those things or not, it should be an everyday thing. So the fact that we're doing this a week later, I think is fantastic, because it's something that we should be walking through our lives doing every single day, treating every single person with respect, whether you disagree or agree with that person, have the same beliefs or not. Showing respect to them is important.
Yeah. It's a good verse. Colossians is a good read. It's a quick read. You actually can get lost and miss it, because if you buzz through the Bible too quickly, it's deep in the back, and it's really all those Colossians, Philippians, Thessalonians, Galatians. They're all like nice, little segments in the Bible that they're good, because those ones are good to read if you are new, or you're trying to think of like, hey, I want to get more to the Bible, but God, if I got to read the whole book of Genesis or Exodus, or, I mean, they're so long, and like there's so many verses and so many chapters. Like these smaller ones in the back in the New Testament give you, they give you, I don't know. And I guess I'd say it's a little bit easy. It seems like they're a little bit easier read for those that are just kind of getting into it. But Colossians 3:17,
Mm-hmm.
go check it out. So anyway, so we want to talk about like 3 or 4 things today, Dave. Is there anything in particular that you want to start? A lot of our conversations on this podcast that we have usually stem from a conversation between Dave and I, like either during the week, the prior week, and we're like, bam, that's a good topic to talk about. And so we have 3 or 4 different things. We'll see how long it takes to get through them. We're already 20 something minutes into this week's episode, but like, where do you want to start? What do you want me to start on something? Do you want to start on something? Is there something that really stuck out to you? Is there?
Yeah. No, I like it. I like all the things we got on tap. So why don't you start? Throw out your first topic. I don't know which one you're going with.
Okay. So this one is a double. This one, I guess, will tie into more than one thing. But I don't know if you don't watch the news. I don't really watch the news. But I did see that in Argentina, they elected a new president last week. Javier, I'm going to probably butcher his last name. It's Milei. So Milei, Javier Milei. He is from the Libertarian Party.
Yep.
From the Libertarian Party. Libertarian at heart, that's me. I don't really, I would vote conservative over liberal most 9 times out of 10. But really, libertarian is the way I would vote, because I'm for small government, low taxes, freedom. That's what libertarians base. They base most of their political views on freedom, because freedom is the number one of all things that democracy is. Right? Freedom is it, and that's the libertarians believe in freedom. Like, leave me alone. The government doesn't need to be doing in my business. You don't got to tax me 60%. Like, so this guy is a libertarian. So what do they paint him the picture of? As he's just some far right extremist. That's what they paint the picture, because this guy won. Now, in a country that's known for Leo Messi and Maradona, and usually it's known for its footballers, Argentina, right? But it also is not a third world country. It's a major country.
Mm-hmm.
It is a major country. The capital, Buenos Aires, is a huge city. There's a lot going on in Argentina. And so anyway, so last week, this guy wins the presidential election, and liberal heads explode. Just loved it. Listen, I take pride in liberal heads exploding over every little thing, but they go nuts. This crazy extremist, blah, 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 blah. So first of all, tip of the cap to the guy. He won, and he won fair and square. A shocker here. This is going to shock you. They actually were able to count the votes for a major country in one day, and the election was decided in the same day. Polls closed. Now, listen, no conspiracy theorist here, but they don't use electronic voting machines, so there's no chance of any. Not saying anything weird happened in our elections before in history, but they don't use any lot of electronic. It's all paper. It's easily countable. Somehow they get an election done in one day, and it's maybe we should take a page from their book on how to count votes in one day. Whatever. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just stating facts. So this guy goes and by a hefty margin. So if you win an election by more than 5%, in my opinion, that's a blowout, right? Because 5% over the course of X number of million of people, that's a pretty big deal. So this guy goes and wins, right? And they hate him so much in the media. They absolutely despise this guy. He's Donald Trump. He's blah, blah, blah. So it got me thinking. So I called you today on a tangent this morning before we recorded. And I said, hey, dude, I just want you to do something. And I did it to my other buddy too. I said, open up your Google and just type in, open up google.com, open up a new page and just type in the new Argentina. Just type that in there. As you know, Google auto-populates every single thing in the world, no matter what it is. You could type in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, Z, W, X, Y, and they will at least populate something that comes after it. So you go and you open up a Google page, right? And you type in the new Argentina. That's all I typed in. Okay. And I took a screenshot. I'm not going to show it here, but I did type it in here just so you guys can see. The new Argentina, and all it says is new Argentina jersey, new Argentina kit, new Argentina money, logo, lyrics, Evita, crossword clues, Patty Luponi, whoever the hell it is, the next Argentina match. Those were the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Just by typing in the new Argentina. Now, you would think Google, the king of suppressing information, would be like, dude, they just had a presidential election 3 days ago. Why wouldn't the new Argentina president pop up? Okay. It doesn't. So I called Dave. I'm like, Dave, dude, you have to go do this. So I type in the new Argentina P. Doesn't say anything. The new Argentina PRES. Nothing. The new Argentina PRESIDEN. Dude, it wouldn't even populate the T and in the word president. I'm like, dude, how can a country of this many people have not even, Google doesn't auto-populate it? And then so I said, maybe it's just a glitch. I'll type in the next Argentina, the next Argentina match, the next Argentina Messi, kit, money, logo, soccer game, World Cup game, once again. So finally I said, I can't believe I actually have to type out the full phrase, the new Argentina president. And literally I had to type out the full phrase. And even when I typed out the new Argentina president, it didn't even do a drop menu on Google. So once you hit enter, enter, what do you get? Who is Javier Milei, Argentina's new far-right El Loco president, which means, if you don't know Spanish, means crazy, right? And all the top articles that go along with it. Argentina's presidential win is Argentina's Donald Trump moment. I probably shouldn't say that because we'll get banned or something. Argentina's far-right outsider wins presidential election. Is Argentina's new president too divisive to fix a broken economy? Argentina's new president wants to adopt the US dollar as its national currency. Who is this guy? They make it like he's some nobody that came out of fucking nowhere. The guy just did a Tucker Carlson interview months ago and had like 800,000 million trillion views. And they like this far right extremist outsider came on and win the election. So kudos to this guy for winning, number one, and beating the system of nonsense that goes along with all these, World Economic Forum views and all the crap. But the bigger point I want to make here is, like, this is complete suppression of information. That's exactly what it is. Like, let's call a spade a spade. They don't want you to research it, so they don't even give it to you as an option unless you type it all the way out and actually have to hit enter.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. And then, like you just said, the information that's given to you is filtered to you to be skewed one way, one way of thinking. And it's so blatantly obvious that that's happening. Big tech we've talked about it on the show, it's a big problem. They pump the information that they want you to consume, and they suppress the information that they don't want you to consume. I don't understand how people don't see that this is wrong and make a bigger stink about it. But it's like, we're just okay with it. Like, whatever. Okay, cool. No big deal.
It's nuts. And it's everything. It's not just this. It's whatever you want to, it's whatever you want to search. They literally scrub and wipe things off of YouTube. They scrub and wipe things off of Google. Everything that they, like for the longest time there, like, and this was this is just another example. So when number 45 won the presidency. DJT won the presidency. Like, you could go on YouTube and you could type in like live as it happens when he was declared the winner in 2016. And they were around for a while. And then all of a sudden, all those videos vanished. Like, you could go to YouTube and type in the night that he wins the election, and they were all gone. Every single one. You couldn't find one. You could not find a single video because they literally just said, nah, not a good idea. Wiped it clean. And it's just what they do because, like we say all the time as fathers, they want the first people they're going to attack is your children. And if they can control, because they know that everyone's kids have cell phones and everyone's parents have 2 jobs and everyone's parents aren't there 24/7. So if they can control the narrative in school, which I already have had a beef with Madison's school this year about a book report due and all other stuff. If you can control what the device that's in your hand, and that's all kids do is live in their computers and their phones, then what can't they control? You know what I'm saying? It's mind blowing to me that this goes on in 2023, but it's also all of our faults. Like, let's just be real. I'm part to blame. You're part to blame. We all just said, we all were quiet, didn't do nothing about it, didn't say nothing about it, didn't get vocal about it, and we just let it sit back and happen. And now here we are at this point where now, like, they literally just say, fine, this is what you're going to get to watch, and that's that. The other thing, here's another thing.
All this.
And then I'll let you just go on your rant. Okay, I don't even like saying it, but there's a month early in the year, in the first half dozen days of the year a few years ago where this thing happened and everybody said it was bad and it was the worst thing that ever happened. Well, last week as well, all the people that record things, all those got released. And not one major news site talked about it because, like you said, it doesn't fit what they want you to see. And so swept under the rug. Major news. And I hope you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And the only person who was actually covering that months ago when it started coming out that it was all ridiculous was Tucker. And then he got fired and let go. So what's that tell you? But what I was going to go into is perfect segue from that is that all these news companies just tell you the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're all the same. Whether you're far left and you're watching CNN or MSNBC, or you're more conservative and you watch Fox News, none of them care about you. That's a fact. They don't. They care about lining their pockets. CNN and MSNBC loved when Donald Trump was in office because they got to talk about him. And they got ratings from all the people out there who hate Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Fox News, they love having Biden in office because now their ratings are through the roof because they get to show all the stuff about Biden, get all the crazies on the right, tuning in, watching, following all the propaganda machine. That's what we have. They're all connected. They're all getting paid, and the strings are being pulled by the same couple people. And if you think that they're not, you're delusional. And it all ties together. Mm-hmm. So we have a problem where you can't really trust any of the sources that are out there right now. Nothing's impartial. It's so hard to determine what's not paid and pushed by someone else with an agenda.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of just getting facts and getting a story. Those days are gone.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that this is 2023 in the United States. And I want to segue into a meme that I read it to you, but I wanted to read it. And it was sent to me by somebody. And it's absolutely freaking hilarious. And it says, I don't know, somebody tweeted this out. And it said, if the United States saw what the United States is doing in the United States would invade the United States to liberate the United States from the tyranny of the United States. And if that is not like the most accurate like portrayal of what's going on right now, it is phenomenal. Yeah. It's freaking phenomenal, dude. It's great. I thought it was hilarious.
We live in a world where I honestly cannot believe the things that are happening. In San Francisco, we welcomed the Chinese president as if he was one of our own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we rolled out the red carpet. We were waving Chinese flags on American soil. All of a sudden, San Francisco was cleaned up. The homeless people were gone. It was like an American city again.
Yeah.
We did this for a communist leader from another country who hates us, wants to ruin America, has completely bought and paid for the majority of the people in higher government
Mm-hmm.
that are working for him. And we just roll it out and we're like, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's good. There should be no time ever where we're giving that kind of greeting to a communist leader in America. It boggles my mind that they get that sort of a welcome here when they hate us, when they are committing atrocities in their own country, killing people for no reason other than they're taking up space in their country. They don't like the way that they're acting or the things that they're doing. Child labor, all these things that we are supposed to be so passionately against, but we just let this guy in and wave the flags for him, his own flags on our country. It's bullshit.
Fitting at San Francisco, and the thing that pisses me off about it the most, there's three things that I hate in this world more than anything in the whole. Like, more than anything, I hate parents who don't pay attention to their kids. I hate laziness, overall, just in general laziness. And I hate communists. All of them. If you're a communist, I hate you. Period, end of story. And the fact that, like you said, this guy is the leader of a communist country. We roll out the red carpet. Do we shut roads down in one of our major cities in the entire country, one of the biggest cities in this country? We literally shut the city down, cleaned it up, and then the audacity of having our streets in the United States lined with a communist country's flag is enraging. Craziness. It's craziness. It's absolutely, it's wild. Like, that's what we did. We literally lined the streets with Chinese flags.
And I love that Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, actually said, he was talking about people complaining about how the only reason we cleaned it up is because we're having foreign leaders come. And he said, yep, that's the truth. That's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
He was perfectly fine with it. But cleaning it up for your own citizens, your tax-paying citizens that live there, they're trying to survive, trying to have a nice, safe place to live, work, and go to school, that's not worth cleaning it up for. But, we're thinking about running him for president because Joe Biden's completely delirious, doesn't know what he's talking about half the time, and probably won't make it that long. Yeah. So we're looking at running Gavin Newsom, the place where the population of that state is declining rapidly. People are leaving at rapid rates because it's so bad there. And that's what we're going to run out now for president as a potential solution.
No, they don't care. They don't care about the homeless vets in this country, but they sure as hell care about cleaning up the streets for communists. It's amazing. It just proves that we literally are just pawns in their game. We are peasants. Well, there's literally nothing. We're peasants in their game, and that's just the absolute truth. Yeah. But it's like you could go down this rabbit hole forever. But even like you said, we were talking, and you mentioned the word bottom line. Some of these celebrities now, The Rock was just on Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Rappaport, the comedian, just was on a podcast. And now you said, but the word bottom line is perfect. Because the things like, for me, don't fuck with my kids, then don't fuck with my money. Like, those are the first two things. For a lot of these rich people, if you touch their money, then they get mad. So these people are now like, oh shit, we made a bad decision. Like, we're stumping for this guy to win. And now all of a sudden mortgage rates are 8%. People are losing their jobs. Gas is $5 a gallon. Can't afford affordability through the roof. And you even have these guys now like Rappaport, who was on his podcast saying, I can't believe I may have to vote for Donald Trump because the situation is so bad. The Israel situation, the Israel-Palestine situation. And these guys are saying, man, maybe I'm gonna have to vote for Donald Trump. I can't believe I'm gonna have to. I hate this guy with all of my heart, but I might. You're like making me go that way because it's so bad. It's like the term useful idiots, and to keep down the communism theme, the useful idiots. You literally just sell, you get these guys elected, you do their dirty work for them, and then you're a useful idiot. And then that's off with your head afterwards. And it's these guys are like coming around now, but it's like, really? Like, where the hell were you 4 years ago? You knew this was going to happen, but you took a paycheck, you took a payday to stump for some people that are not good people at all and don't have our country's best interests in their minds at all.
Well, because in the short term, they got the likes, the shares, the subscribers, the clicks, because they were trending with a topic that they knew a lot of people were passionate about. A lot of people hated Donald Trump, so they just pushed it. And who knows who is actually pulling those levers and those strings to, encourage them, I'll say, to go that direction, right? But now they're seeing so much more money out of their pocket, and it's affecting them. But you know what? That's less than 1% of the population of the United States is in that sort of position. So if they're feeling it and feeling the pain, like, I'd love to just like confront them and be like, what do you think the rest of the population, the other 99% of the people in this country, the hardworking Americans that are here, the pain that they're feeling every day? Because the salaries of those people are significantly less. Our average people, you, me, the other people listening to this show, the salaries are minuscule compared to what those, actors, comedians, influencers are all making. So if they're feeling it, you can damn well bet that the rest of us are feeling it on a much larger scale. And you know what? Too little, too late on their side. You were the reason that this came this way. And it'd be great if you came back the other way. But now you need to undo. You need to undo what you did and push out that message as much as you did pushing out the message of hate that you were pushing before.
If you could even undo it now at this point, that's the problem. You know what I mean? Could you actually, if you could even undo it? But anyways, we wanted to get not really go this far down this rabbit hole because we wanted to talk about, like, I guess we can tie this in. How do you battle this? Right? Here's a lesson. Because as we say, it's pretty easy to be good these days because everybody is so lazy and incompetent, and they just do whatever they're told and they sit in front of their TVs. And, it's really not that hard to be a successful father right now. Even in this situation that we're in, and we've said this many times before, because the economy has been, listen, imagine the fact that we're repeating ourselves on certain things because the economy's been so bad for so long. Like, dude, it's a sacrifice what are the sacrifices that we're willing to make for our children, right? Andy and I were talking about the other night, dude. One of us has always worked nights. Like, that's just the sacrifice that we made. So we never had to pay for daycare. The sacrifice of getting a second job, like to make sure that your kids, because that's the number one goal, is to make sure that our kids are taken care of. Like, we created them, and we need to keep them moving forward. They have it better than we had it. And what that means is we have to turn up the level of sacrifice more and more and more. You do it, you leave on the weekends and you come back. That sacrifice. But guess what? You're still at the football games on Sunday, even though you're going on no sleep in the flights. I work 2-3 jobs, 2-3 jobs to control, to help. I mean? Why my wife's a saint and busting her ass with overtime every week to make sure that our kids are taken care of and that they have everything that they need. You know what I mean? Andine she's the most unbelievable woman. I'm so lucky. I'm playing way above the rim, to use a term, being married to that woman, because she is the hardest working mother I've ever experienced. And the fact that she does what she does and she busts her hump every day and works from home and still makes dinner and does all those things is just tremendous. So, we just got to we just got to do better. We got to keep pushing through the pain and get through it.
Yeah, I had somebody ask, what spurred this conversation was I had somebody at work ask me the other day, how do you do it? And I was kind of taken back by the question. I didn't really know what she meant. And she's like, so I asked, I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, how do I do what? Like, well, you come here, you work, 40 hours here, you go, you travel, you do freelance work, you coach your son's flag football team. Like, I know you're present with your kids. Like, how do you do it all? And I didn't have a good answer for her. All I could just tell her was, I just do. I don't have another option. We've already talked about this on the show. Like, if you're not present, where are your kids getting the information from? What are they consuming when you're not present in their life? And we just talked about the stuff that's not true, that's being pushed everywhere, right? So for me to know that my kids are being raised with proper values, being present is the most important thing. And Casey and I both believe that and are a part of that. So we make it a priority to have dinner with our kids every single night to make sure that we're present. Phones are away. Time is spent playing with the kids, doing stuff with the kids. If, we're working out in the yard, they're with us. They're helping us do those things. Just working together as a family and staying connected. And that's really all it takes to be a good father. Just be present. Be present with your kids and just do it. I mean, you can talk about it and figure out different ways to everybody's got problems and all this going on. Everybody does, but just be present with your kids. Do what you have to provide for your kids and be present when you can be. You might have to work 2, 3 jobs. Maybe you're not home all the time, but let's make sure one of the spouses is. And if you can't do that, make sure that wherever your kids are, that they're with someone that you trust, that you believe is going to do the right thing with them. But when you are with your kids in those moments, be present with them. Put the phones away, pay attention to them, talk to them, play with them, just let them be kids. And that's really, at the end of the day, all it takes to be a good father.
Yeah, and I don't even have anything to add to that. That's the best way we could have closed the show out. So I'm not gonna add to that.
Well, we got a book recommendation for today.
What's that?
Here it is. Called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. This is a book that I just read, and it's fantastic. It's about the disciplined pursuit of less. And what does that mean? Well, that means you're either an essentialist or you're a non-essentialist. And if you're a non-essentialist, you're trying to do everything, please everybody, all the time. Being an essentialist is identifying the things that are most important for you to focus on that are going to make the biggest impact. It's not a way to organize your to-do list and your, the things that you got to do in the day. It's a way to hone in on the things that are most important to make the difference in the things that you feel are most important. So maybe that's being really great at work. And it's about understanding when it's okay to say no. Say no to things. It's all right to say no. And that actually you'll get more respect from your family, from your peers, because you say no to things. Maybe it's the extra project at work, but in order for you to get this other project done, you can't say yes to that one. And your boss will be more appreciative of that if you focus in on your other project. The same thing at family. Maybe, you know what? You're always saying yes to things on the weekends, and it's just taking you away from being present, like I was just talking about, with your family. Prioritizing and saying, you know what, I got to say no to these things right now in this season of life because I'm more focused on this. My time with my kids is what's most important right here. Making sure that my wife and I have a date night is much more important than going to the bar, hanging with the guys, or staying late for work, or whatever those things may be. So, Essentialism, Greg McKeown. It's a great read. The reason I started reading this in the first place, it was a recommendation from a friend of mine. As I was talking to him about getting rid of my iPhone and switching over, we talked about it, to a light phone. He's like, start with this book. It's going to be important that you read that. And he gave me another one to read, which I'll give you an update on in a couple weeks probably. But this is the crux of it. It's a great book. Go check it out.
Yeah, you're going to have to ship that out my way so I can read it.
I will. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, that's the show. Appreciate you all listening. Share the show. And Dave, take us home.
Everybody get out there, continue to live the full forest life. Be present, be a great father, and we'll see you next week.